friends, welcome back to the channel. So excited to have you here today. Today's video is all about the Harmonious collection of colored pencils by Castle Art. Now I have the 72 set with me here. I've opened it and I've had a look, but I haven't sharpened anything, I haven't swatched anything, so we're going to do that today. Now if you haven't heard of these, this is a thoughtfully curated set designed to complement your existing coloring supplies. So if you have a main set or a main line of Castle Art pencils, this might be just the thing to be the perfect expansion pack, if you will, for your current set. So in this set, we've got a range of muted and moody shades, making it ideal for adding depth and nuance to your artwork. As you can see, we've got this lovely example here on the box already. So Castle Art have created these in order to fill the gaps in your existing Castle Art sets or even in your other pencil sets as well. So they're mainly focusing on muted tones, delicate tones to complement what you've already got. Now these pencils are also marketed as having a wax-based core. They're very pigmented and they provide smooth application and effortless blending. So we're going to test that out today. Each pencil is named, numbered and color-coded, housed in an elegant display tin for easy organization as Exhibit A. So this set is available on the Castle Arts website, but it's also available on Amazon as well. And I will leave the link in the description below. So let's open her up and have a look, shall we? So nice little tin there. It's a nice deep tin. It's very pretty actually. I've just noticed it's a nice little color wheel on the bottom there, which helps me kind of, I suppose at an eagle eye level, determine what kind of things that I could do with them. So I've got some good ideas already. Right, so in this tin, we have a lot in here. It's a bit of a film just to cover everything up. So they provide a swatch sheet, which I am very excited about. So I'll be using that. I'm happy that they have this because it means I don't have to create my own, which is wonderful. I can house this in with the rest of my swatch sheets in my folder. What else have we got? Information for Castle Art. You can join the Castle Art Club. All right, color and product guides. We've got a brochure here, which includes all of their ranges. Let me know in the comments if you have any of their pencil sets, excluding this one, let me know. So on the brochure here, we've just got everything's color coded according to the different ranges that they have. So lots of colors to choose from. Everything looks pretty even as well in terms of different colors. And then on the back, we've just got lots more information. They've provided a lot of resources. If you're a resource person, this is resource heaven. And then if you want to actually create this, it gives you little instructions. You can, so if you're wanting to download the template, you can download it from their website. And then you can start by, they list all the colors and the steps that you can use to create this. So if you're if you're into a free resource, this might be a good one. And then we've got the pencils on the back of this brochure here. We also have them on the lid as well. So they've been very generous in placing colors everywhere. And then we've got some more information. The perfect complement to any pencil set. So in here we have a whole lot of information on pencils, which I am someone who's a non-professional artist. So for me, I had a quick flip through this and there was actually a lot of information in here that I never have considered or just didn't know. So for example, how you hold your pencils. I'm definitely a dynamic quadrupod. I think being a left-hander as well. We hold our pencils really weird sometimes. I'm looking at this and I can recognize a lot of different artists on YouTube and the way they group their pencils. And I know it's very intentional, but for me, I just hold it the way I hold it and that's it. So there's a whole lot of different information here. I have had a bit of a read through that, but sometimes I find I just get a bit lost with all the info. So It's a resource that I tend to hold on to and I come back to if I have any specific questions. So again, if you have this set, you can download the picture. Yeah. Glossary. So there's a whole bunch of things in here, and I love that they give examples too. Looking at, I really like that. It's nice. Okay. Let's go through the pencils. All right, so let's look at, we've got driftwood here. So we've got the name, got the number. So I think the HA obviously would stand for harmonious. If you're the type of person that likes to put all your core sets and your extension sets of the Castle Art together, at least this can differentiate what original set you're actually pulling it from. Closed over end. And I haven't sharpened these yet, but they come with a blunt tip. So before I swatch them, I will go and sharpen these to have a nice fine point. So we've got muted browns, cool browns, muted and cool beiges, pink there. And the same with the blues. These purples really interest me. And then we've got some lovely muted greens as well. Now again, these I'm very interested in this set. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna swatch them and I'll pop that on. So we're gonna swatch them, and then after I've swatched them, I'm gonna chat through some of my thoughts. And I will be using a coloring page today as a demonstration. I just don't know what coloring page yet because I do want to swatch them just to get a better idea of what I'm working with, because I have a few ideas. I have a few ideas in my mind's eye of what I could do. I just want to confirm. So I'm thinking potentially I could go Christine Karen, potentially Johanna Basford, Hannah Carlson, or Leila Duly. There's really no shortage of options that we have, but I just want to swatch them out just to be doubly sure, because as we know, the actual colors can vary a little bit from the printed swatches, again, just because it's digital versus the actual material. So let's do that, shall we? I will mention as well that if you would like to skip ahead to any part during this video, feel free. I will have everything in chapters for you. I will also be listing all the colors that I end up choosing at the end of the video, so you can stick around for that, or you can head to the description now if you'll just like to jump ahead to the colors and get started. It's really up to you. Alrighty team, here is our completed swatch chart. So we've got some lovely colors here. Most of them look to be on the cool side. There's a couple of the browns that are warmer. I mean, because I think brown naturally is warmer, unless you start adding some blue undertones to it. Lots of muted greens, some very muted greens, some actually wonderful range of pinks and purples, to be honest. I'm immediately drawn to this little set of 4 right here. So as I was swatching these, there were many characteristics of the Castle Art pencils that are quite similar to the Prismacolor. Very much so in terms of consistency. I find that my pencil strokes weren't as smooth, but I think that just might be me getting used to the pencils, definitely. And it could also be because it's on this card as well. We'll see how we go. And I'm loving these 2 down here as well. It has actually taken me so long to pick a page to do. I look through all my coloring books because I want to pick an illustrator that I'm familiar with because I'm using these pencils for the first time. But I also wanted to showcase enough variance in the pinks and the purples and the lavenders and the deep, like bluey purples that we've got. Everything. I wanted to include as much as possible because I've just been drawn to so many of these colors as I've been swatching. So I finally landed on a page. So it was a tie between this page from Leila Duly's Beautiful Planet, which is this book here. It was a tie between this and one from Christine Karen's latest release. And I decided on this one because I've got more opportunity to feature more colors. Just having a look at our swatch sheet here. So I've got opportunities for these deep pinks and the blues and the purples and the greens. So I feel like we're gonna have a bit of fun with it. It might take me a little bit longer, but I feel like I'm gonna get a good result. And I can always go back after I've done this page. I can always go back on another time and do the same page of the Christine Karen book that I was thinking of as well. The other reason why I didn't pick it is because when I do portrait coloring, I like to include some beiges and yellow tones to kind of balance out a lot of the pinks that we've got going on here. And I feel like I would just get a bit too pinky, but that's just me though. It's just the way that I like to do it. And I was a little bit nervous about that. So I thought, look, this is the first time using these pencils. So let's just do something that know that I'm going to have a better time with, and then on the next page I can go and do the portrait page. So let me know in the comments if you would like to see a portrait page done with this set of pencils. I can certainly do that for you. I just think that we're going to be able to showcase a bigger range of these pencils on this page today, and I'm familiar with the paper as well. I love Leila's work. You guys know that if you've been watching my channel for a while. So the other thing I'm going to do as well is I'm going to transfer the pencils over to a pencil case, a spare pencil case that I have, which I was originally going to use to house my Derwent Studios. However, now that I have the Castle Art, I think I'm just going to go ahead and use this one. And I don't actually remember putting these in here, so I'm not quite sure where those lines have come from. I don't remember putting pencils in here. There we go. That is mysterious. That is really mysterious. I don't know why there's pencil markings in there if I haven't used this yet. I got it from Amazon. Curious. Let me know in the comments, have you ever bought a pencil case from Amazon and you've opened it and there's mysterious pencil marks in there already? And I'm looking at that too, and I know that that's not the way that I store my pencils. Look, there's a purple, there's a red, there's a beige, there's a blue. I wonder if this is quote unquote secondhand and I didn't realize. I wonder. Yeah, look, there's more here. I wonder, I'm so curious. Anyway, I digress. Let's dive into the coloring. Now, what I'm gonna do is I will color everything and it'll be in a time-lapse series, just so you're not sitting here for 3 million hours. And then once we have done everything, we'll go through the colors and I'll pop the colors in the description as well, so that if you have this set and if you happen to have the book, you can follow along if you like, or you might like to use the combinations in another book. We'll see. Let's have a go. Alrighty friends, that is our beautiful page complete. Did you know this actually took me over 20 hours to complete? I think I started coloring it Monday afternoon, mid-afternoon, and I finished last night, which was Thursday. So this is taking me a long time to do. So don't be fooled. If you see a completed page and you might see a 10-minute time lapse, yeah, don't be fooled. Alrighty, so now I'm gonna quickly go through how I feel the pencils have performed, and then we're gonna do a quick review of all the colors and go through what I've used where. So feel free to skip ahead to any section that you like. I think these pencils performed really, really well. I am so impressed by how they have performed on this page. There have been times where I can struggle a little bit with the Prismacolors on the page in certain elements, especially the finer details, because I can't get all the pigment into the tooth of the paper. I have to work really hard at getting that right, but these were fantastic. These laid on really smoothly. And if I zoom in on these blue flowers over here, I was able to achieve all of this detail work due to the pencil's performance. They respond really well to the different types of shading that I was trying to do, and they were doing that regardless of whether they had a fine tip or if I'd worn some of it down, so they were more of a blunt tip on the end. So they've just done really well, and I don't have any of like the too much of a waxy shine. I've got a little bit, but it's not too much. So I am so happy with the Castle Art pencils on this paper. It actually makes me want to bring out the polychromos and try them on this paper as well. I'm not saying that the Prismas were bad on this paper. I've done so many pictures in this book with Prismacolor. Let's see if I can show you one. So like this was done with Prismacolor too, and it's not too bad. I just remember having a harder time to really work everything into the paper. It's fine. Like, yeah, I'm certainly, the Prismacolors are, I love the Prismacolor pencils, so I certainly don't want to, you know, I'm not saying I don't like them. I just think that the Castle Arts perform better on this paper. The only other thing is that they do wear down quite quickly. So let me show you a tray. This is one of the trays that I have all the colors in, and you can see this night blue. That's the deepest color for these flowers up here. So you can kind of see like how short that has become. And also the driftwood as well, which was on these little clusters over here. But I feel that that is quite normal for a soft core pencil. It's certainly nothing that I wasn't expecting. I knew that that would happen, but so I think because this set isn't a complete one-stop shop, it's a set that you add on to your existing pencils. So I think that it's not too much of a negative. I think it's completely doable. One thing that I was really happy about too was how clear the writing is, because they've used white. It was very, very easy to pick and choose my pencils and sort through them. Very easy. I find sometimes if you've got metallic writing, whether it's in gold or silver, you've got to kind of pick the pencil up and see what it is. But I found I could really read from a distance what it was, and I just felt that my workflow was great. I think looking at all the colors that we have here, this is a color palette within itself. There are no colors that I would leave out. Potentially, I say that, but the only ones that I'd probably leave out are the topaz and the bay leaf. They're just a little bit saturated to me. And the eggplant, they potentially don't fit unless you blend them really well. So down here, I've used the bay leaf, which is that really bright, vibrant green. I've used the bay leaf down here, just on the leaf edges, just for a bit of variance, because I didn't want to have everything looking the same. But I wouldn't have had the whole leaf that color because it wouldn't have matched. Just for me. Now, of course, color palette selection is to taste. Color palette selection is, yes, there is a science behind it, but it's also to taste. So if there's something that you like that someone else might say they don't like, that's fine. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It doesn't mean they're wrong. I'm 100% considering adding the main range of Castle Art pencils to my selection so that they can work well with these too. So let's go through this page. So for most of it, I have done color pencil, and the challenge was not necessarily with the flowers. The challenge was actually with the leaves, and I've tried to use as many greens as I can, but they all do look similar after a while. So hence why I've brought in a bit of the metallic paint. And the metallic paint that I use is this CSY Art Gallery Handmade Watercolor set. So this is just a mini one. You buy them off Amazon. Sorry, there's 6 different colors in here. So I've got crystal pink, red brown, and then heart of gold top right, pearl purple walnut, which is what I've used, and rose pink. So that's the walnut on these leaves here. So the stems and the leaves for these, I think that, to me, that looks like a hydrangea cluster. The names aren't in the back of the book, which is fine. It was kind of good because I could just use the colors that I wanted. Up here as well, and here, and I've also used the heart of gold and the crystal pink on the butterflies. That's up the top here as well. And I've just outlined those with the Duly Art paint pen. The black leaves at the back, you may have noticed in the time lapse that I started to color them in colored pencil. However, as soon as I did so, I was quickly reminded of the fact that every time I've done that, I just don't like the result, because the look of the pencil against the printed black ink, just, I don't like it. So I've just gone over and I've done some outlines and the stems with a black Duly Art paint pen, and I just wanted to not add any color because it's in the background. I just wanted to stay that way. I have used, like I was saying, I have used pencil before. I've used glitter pen before. I haven't been happy with anything. So I've gone with the black and I'm most happy with that. In terms of a color scheme, so trying to keep all similar elements the same. So I've got this type of flower of blue. These 2 daisy looking things have the same center. So even though their little petals look the same, their centers are different. So I've kept those the same. That one's different yet again, but I've gone with pink. And because there was only one of that, I've decided to do these little round ones in a similar pink tone, just to keep it balanced on the page. And these tiny ones down here, let me zoom you in on one just so you can see, because it might be a little bit difficult to see. I have based it in purple, then I've gone ahead and I've added these blues and pinks in just for a bit of interest, because I felt like it was looking a bit flat. And then of course I've used a glitter pen for all the embellishments. You could absolutely use silver on a page like this. I just decided to use gold because I wanted to bring a little bit of warmth in it. I like to balance things where I can, but again, that's to taste. And I thought it went well with this metallic brown as well. So in terms of the pencil choices, if you have the Harmonious set and if you have this book, which again is Beautiful Planet by Leila Duly, here are our pencil choices. So we're starting off with the blue daisies, the large ones here. So I've started off with 044, which is night blue. And I've just worked up the gradient. So next 045 Ocean Sapphire, Petrol Blue, Gentian, is it Gentian? Gentian? I don't know. Blue, Cumulus. And then for the flower centers, Oak, Cocoa, and Beaver Grey. Now I've just started from the darkest and worked my way up. This is just how I like to do solid flower centers, is I like to start the gradient on an angle and then work my way up. I just think it looks effective. I've always done them that way and I like it. If you prefer it another way, by all means do that. So to get some really nice details, so I've started with the darkest in the middle, and I've also brought the darkest around the edges to create some shading, to create some folds in the petals as well. I didn't just want to do a straight gradient on this occasion. I think because there's so many layered items as well, I just wanted to create a bit of depth. And again, feel free to take a screenshot of these if you like. And I know that I was trying really hard to put the number first and then the name, but I think because with my Prismacolors, I do it the other way. I just, like with this Gentian blue, I swapped it around. I didn't mean to, but feel free to take a screenshot of these. And then the pink daisy, middle of the left page. Now that one right there. So I've used the same technique. I've gone dark to light, but I've got a little bit of dark around the edges too. And I've just got it, so I've got the darker sections where the flower's like turned down, just for a bit of depth and shadow. So we're starting off with Amaretto 072. That might be a bit hard to, because this pen kind of cut out. 072 Rosy Stone, Pavilion Grey 007, 005 Calamine or Calamine, 022 Mocha, 021 Oak, 023 Cocoa. Again, so these three are the same as these three up here. So just bringing in a bit of continuity. And then the Beaver Grey at the end. And our large, and I've written purple daisies, they're pink. These ones are this one here and the one below it. And I've just followed the same technique for all of the other daisy looking flowers. So I've got 068 Sour Berry, Plum, Beetroot, Wheatgrass, Oak and Beaver Grey. So I've just used the Oak and the Beaver Grey. I've omitted the Cocoa in that one. The medium to small purple flowers are these ones on the edge here, just on the right of my screen. They kind of look like, and on the left as well, they kind of look like little forget-me-nots, which I could have done them blue, but purple was the choice. So Tempest, Deep, Ajan, I don't know, just deep that, just number 038, guys. Beetroot, Wildberry, and Mocha. And Mocha was used on only some of the flower centers. Some were actually, in the illustration, some have been filled in with black on the actual print. And so I've colored in the ones that weren't with Mocha. And with the white flowers, which are these clustery ones, I've used Driftwood and Ammonite. And I've started with the Driftwood on the outside and I'm working my way in, and any of the flowers that are layered underneath, it was just one color. And then I've used a gold gel pen, which is, I've used this gold Signo Sparkling. Any gold gel pen will do. Any gold that has a tint that you like. So not all gold is the same gold. This one's more of a yellow gold. You might like to use more of a muted gold. You might even like to use a silver. It's completely up to you. And the small purple clusters are the ones that I spoke about before. These ones here. So I've used, we've got right down here, Inky Blue, Night Blue, and Beetroot. So you can see here that we've got Beetroot in quite a few things. And Night Blue was also in these blue flowers as well. So I'm trying to just bring colors that I've already used through, just to bring everything together and create a theme. Okay. For our round flowers, I'm just calling them round flowers because their petals are arranged in a round shape. We have Mocha, Amaretto, Wheatgrass, and for their leaves, I've just put them next to each other, Wild Thyme, Porpoise, and Pale Apple. Okay, and now for our leaves. So the largest leaves on the page are these ones over here. And I've used Seaweed, which that is a beautiful color, Pine Green, and Moss. And for the pink daisy leaves, these ones down here, I've used Bay Leaf, which was that really bright green that I was like, whoa, hold the phone. Nope, Pine Green and Mellow Sage. So I've just used the other muted greens just to tone it down a bit, and it's worked really well. The leaves of these purple flowers, these ones right here where my pen is. So I've used Pine Green and Seafoam Green. So I was able just to use two. And then the leaves down here, Seaweed and Aloe Green. So Seaweed and Aloe Green right down the bottom there. So you can take a screenshot of this if you need to. Or you could just grab the set and have a go yourself and just have a play around with what's where. Because like I was saying, the set is small enough to be its own color palette. So if you wanted to bring through more purples, you could. If you don't like blue, etc., you get it. So I've also used the Duly Art. I've used the Duly Art acrylic paint pen. This is 0.7 millimeter tip. And same with the white, 0.7. These are my go-tos. I love them. I've used them on the butterflies. This bigger butterfly is probably up here, sorry. So up at this butterfly here, you can see that I've just used the white and the black, and I've just chosen a brown from the flower centers to fill that in. And these leaves here was just the crystal pink in that CSY paint, because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. So I was like, I'll make them pink, and then I just did an outline with the Duly Art in the black. So thank you so much for joining me for today's video. I had so much fun creating this. Even though it was an absolute marathon over 20 hours, I love the result. You could do a background if you want. If you have the Castle Art pencils, let me know in the comments what you think of them. Do you like them? Are you on the fence? Are they ones that you just prefer just to have in the cupboard just in case? Let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.